Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos. Having just returned from the United States of America, this episode is German, the place is Melbourne, and you're going to see a lot more right after this. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. Now, as you know, the German classic car fraternity are a pretty fun lot, but today I bring you more. Welcome to the 2016 German Auto Show. Now, this is the first year to run this particular event. It is put on by the good folk of the Volkswagen Club of Victoria and comes with fantastic support from Victorian German car clubs. Now, today's entries can be pre-1990s classic cars only, which means no bikes and no trucks. And when the Germans say no, it means exactly that. Now for the trivia buffs. The main contenders here today are proud of their classic heritage. Audi made their debut July 16 in 1909. BMW launched March 7, 1916. Mercedes-Benz production started in 1926. Porsche was April 25 in 1931, and VW was founded May 28 in 1937. So as you can see, these Euro brands have been around the block a few times. And holding a car event is one thing, but when it's encapsulated within a beautiful backdrop such as the Deaf Children Australia's Heritage Building and Grounds, it means just so much more. And speaking of which, today is a gold coin donation to help the kids. And if you would like to donate, it would be greatly appreciated. It is easy to find their website. Why not go take a closer look? So now it's time to go and get your German on. Go and get your bib and brace shorts fitted and your long white socks on and go and learn the Skaplatla dance and go and slap each other around a bit as we walk around and see who's here. First cab off the rank here today, the 2016 German Auto Show. We have Anthony. How are you, Anthony?
I'm good, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Now, you've got a Replica 356 here, a Porsche. Now, these Porsches, these 356s, they're really coming into their own, aren't they?
Yes, definitely, yes. A classic car. Everybody thinks about James Dean and that, so that cool era of the 50s and everything. So I think retro's in with the Minis and the Volkswagens and all different cars.
Now, Anthony, because it's a replica, what does that actually mean? Where do you start? Do you get a base model and do you option it up? Tell us the rundown on that.
You buy a body and then you start building it from there. So similar to the Cobra, and then you build a chassis and then start buying your parts, put it together, then go to the registering authority. They send it back to you, you have your issues, and then finally you get it on the road.
How cool is that? I mean, there's not a lot of cars you can do this with. I think it's awesome in 2016 to be able to do this. I mean, you're doing a good job. Now, the first thing that sticks out is obviously the dash pad. Now, obviously, you're working on that at the moment, right?
Yes, the original, because the car was from 2000 when I finished it, the original dash fell apart, so I'm just rebuilding it now. So,
Anthony, everything else looks so good.
Yeah, it's a daily driver, so you can see obviously a lot of stone chips and...
Well, you know, as I've said a million times before, every stone chip is a trophy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a look at this car. I mean, the lines, they're very nice, aren't they? They're rounded. Yes. You've got a burgundy red colour. It's got a sporty, racy look about it. Synonymous, obviously, with Porsche as well. I mean, it all goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, you've certainly got yourself a package here, Anthony. How does it drive as a car?
It drives very well. I drove it down from Queensland to Melbourne. And it's a very comfortable car. We have a modern car, a modern Volvo. Actually, it's far more comfortable on a long-distance drive than the Volvo. So it just sits down on the road and...
What powers it?
It's a 1.9 litre Volkswagen base engine,
Yep.
about 120 horsepower.
Yep.
So a little bit more horsepower than the original, but it keeps up with daily traffic. So
Power to weight ratio, though, it'd make it a fun thing to drive.
yeah, the weight's 750 kilos, so yeah, that's probably comparable to 240 horsepower. So
There's a lot of performance parts available for Volkswagen. Same goes with Porsche with the older style engines, like stroker kits and things like
yes,
that.
you can,
Yep.
yes, depending on the size of your wallet, how far you want to go. So
Just no limit to your imagination, right?
exactly, yes.
Anthony, thank you for turning up with your replica car. I think it's good. I mean, as I said earlier, it's good. To turn up with a car that's left the factory is one thing, but when you do a replica car, I mean, that's a lot of work in that, and I can really appreciate what you're doing. It's really it's a different dimension to classic Restos.
Yes. Thank you, Fletch, for coming here and appreciating what I have and everybody here today, and love your show.
Thanks, Anthony. You're welcome. Thank you. You are watching the 2016 German Auto Show, and you're watching it first on Classic Restos. Back with more right after this.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird,
Oh, that's mine.
the Kombi for when we want to get away, the XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
Hare & Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare & Forbes has the range. Fletch's collar looks all right.
Yep. How do I look?
You're fine.
Thanks.
Fine. Theo's fine. How you doing, Theo?
Very well, Fletch. How are you?
Good. Moving into the Mercedes-Benz section now. Nice car, this one. 1969. Good year for classic cars. Even this Mercedes, I'm sure you'll agree. This little two-door sporty coupe.
Yep.
Wow, what a beautiful looking little car.
Stunning little car. Probably my favourite to drive out of all my collection. So
Now, Theo, it's the California. Just explain that.
California Coupe didn't have a soft top, so it was a hard top only, but has a full rear back seat.
Cannot believe the original condition of the interior. I mean, this is like a brand new car.
It is. It's pretty stunning. Yeah, very very happy with it. Yeah.
How does it drive?
Like a brand new Mercedes. It's an absolute pleasure to drive. A wife loves driving it because it's automatic and the steering's nice and light, but very nice to cruise down the highway.
Speaking of the automatic too, it's a reverse pattern gate, like park is where low usually is.
That can get pretty interesting sometimes when you're in a hurry trying to park the thing and you've slammed it into reverse to take off.
I've got to say, Theo, I like around the back of the car. Looks like the wheel arches have been flared. I mean, that's just standard, but looks like they've been widened on these cars.
You know, they do, but the bodywork in general in this car is absolutely stunning, but its pagoda name and design is still, to this day, you look at it and you really got to appreciate the style on these.
We have a look at the aesthetics of this car around the dashboard. I mean, that's class. You know, you've got some bright work there. Some effort has gone into the design of the dashboard, the instrumentation. It's just a nice looking car all around, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Nice big steering wheel. Like I said, power steering. A lot of mod cons. Nice cushioned seats. Dash is very good. Although your brain's got to really tick over when you're doing miles per hour and 60. It's not as conducive.
Yeah, and I learned all that back in the 70s as a kid. Once it stays with you, it's always there. But back to that big wheel. I like the big wheel. It's funny with the cars, isn't it? I mean, as we go back through the decades, the wheels got bigger. It got to a point too where they were that big that your fist was up here and you'd be looking through a steering wheel. But, there's something about that archaicness as well. The big wheels, thin wheels, just gives them a different dimension to drive, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But the really thin steering wheel is different of that era. But
something a bit fatter that you can hang on to. Now, 2.8 litre engine. Tell us about the engine there. What have you done there?
A lot of detail work. The engine was rebuilt quite a long time ago. We did mainly all the hoses, rubbers, clamps, pretty much to make sure it's an old car. But for me, it's got to be an absolutely reliable car. Sure. So, yeah, the same gearbox as well. That all got redone.
You've got to have them reliable. I mean, there's nothing worse having an old car that lets you down. You've got oxygen masks, dropping from the ceiling at any given point in time because you don't know where it's going to go or how it's going to behave itself. This would have to go down as probably one of my favourite shape benders. I just think this little two-door coupe really looks cool. And, of course, synonymous, the Mercedes logo there in the front of the car. It's just all the way around, no matter what angle you look at this car, it looks great. Well, Theo, thank you for bringing this great little car along here today to the 2016 German Auto Show. Before we go any further, are you having fun here? What do you think of the venue?
Oh, look, fantastic venue. What a great turnout, though. Yes. But great variety of cars. Yep. But no, very happy that I came along.
Yep. Absolutely, and it's for a great cause as well too, raising money for the kids for Deaf Kids Australia here in Victoria. Website is on the bottom of the screen right now. If you'd like to make a donation to help the kids, that'd be greatly appreciated. Right. Thanks, Theo.
Awesome. Thanks, Fletch.
Now, what's a German show without a splitty van? Oh, Kombi. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, good, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. I keep saying this. There is no limit to the imagination of what you can do or what you can't do to one of these Kombi vans. Unbelievable.
That's true. You're only held back by your wallet.
Now, quickly, give us the rundown. Did you do this or did you buy it like this? What's the story there?
I've done bits and pieces to the van. I purchased it from the States about 3 years ago. Saw it at an auction over there. Wasn't there on the day that went up for sale. Came back to Australia, thought about it for a long period of time, eventually found it again. Imported it over to Australia. Went back 18 months later, met the guy who built it, which was great. Terrific bloke. And I've just done some modifications to it and a little bit of body work and mainly a bit of motor work and some stuff to bring it up to Australian standards.
Okay. Well, two things. Well, first of all, it's answered the question that I was thinking about being left-hand drive, so we've solved that one. Now, number two, before we start talking about the engine, let's talk about the aesthetics of the vehicle. Now, it's a mobile workshop. I mean, again, there's just no limit to the imagination.
No, there's not. And what the guy did, he was into Harleys, the guy who had initially built it. He spoke to some dealers over there. They got him to do it up as a little bit of a promotional vehicle, and he took the two, I suppose, three best known names to me would be Coca-Cola, Volkswagen, Harley Davidson. He took two of them, branded it, and put them in one van.
You could pull up on the side of the road and do work.
Oh, I can, yeah. Not that I know much about Harleys, but anyway, I'll give it a go.
I think the theme of this van is just way cool. Now, another thing that's way cool is the engine in the back because, wow, this is really something. There's a hairdryer hanging off this thing. Tell us the rundown there.
There is. It was actually a friend of my father's, a good friend of his, had it 40, 50 years ago, and he used to run sprint cars. He ran it on those. He gave it to me 20 years ago and said if you ever get a vehicle that would suit this blower, just put it on. It originated from England from the 1940s. They used to put them on planes to pressurise the cabins. Wow. And that's where your blowers instinctively originate from. So it's aircraft engineered. It's just a terrific thing to have, and it gives a good whine. Yeah. So it sort of suits the vehicle.
How does it drive as a brick?
Oh, as a brick does. Yeah, not real good, but anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's all about getting looks, and people love it. Whether they're motorbike fanatics or whether they're car fanatics, Volkswagen fanatics, everyone loves it.
That's what I've said before. I mean, these Kombi vans, the Volkswagen fraternity, it's about the only type of car that you can go all out, anything goes, and it's cool, and it's admired and looked upon, and people go, wow, look at that. If you did it to any other car, it just wouldn't be right.
No. They've got a lot of appeal because you get your older generation, and a lot of them had Volkswagens in the early days or grew up with them. and you've got your new generation that love them too. So yeah,
I think best of both worlds too with this one being the splitty as well. I mean, there's a real call for them. I mean, they're way cool. I mean, to be able to drive along and have those split screens forward, wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, Sean. Well, that's great.
No, thank you.
It's not every day in the week that you turn up here in a paddock on the grounds in Melbourne and find a splitty like this. I think it's super creative. To the first guy that incepted this back over in the States, it's just so good that you've come along and you've grabbed it. That's awesome.
No worries. Thank you, Fletch. Been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Sean.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Hey, these might be German cars, but you never know what you'll see when you join us on a Fletch tour. Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Coming on the Fletch tour was really great.
The people that run the tour are fantastic.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
If you're going to travel anywhere, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
On a Fletch tour, you're looked after every step of the way.
See FletchTours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Time now for a beautiful BMW on today's show. How you doing, Clive?
I'm very well, thank you, Fletch. And how are you doing?
Good, thank you. You having fun?
It's been great.
That is good. You know what? This has really caught my eye. This would have to be one of the nicest classic BMWs I've seen. A 1974 3-litre.
That's right, Fletch. They're pretty rare, especially in the CSi configuration. Of late, they've really started going through the roof, and I've been very fortunate to own this magnificent car.
Clive, it's a very smart car, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's just the epitome of elegance and great touring car, and it's just got so much to it.
Okay, Clive, now tell us a story about this car in terms of how long you've had it, where did you find it, what work have you done to it?
Yeah, I've done very little to this car, so I'll give you the history of the car as best as I know what the history is. So I bought this car off a gentleman called Bill Cutler. Bill Cutler is a very, very well-known BMW driver. He takes part in the historic touring car championships very, very successfully. He bought this car about 10, 12 years ago. He fully restored the car to the condition that you see it now. And about maybe 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to get wind that he wanted to sell it, and needless to say, I've just, I just fell in love with the car and it's added to my collection.
You've become the temporary custodian.
I am, indeed I am.
The interior of the car is fantastic too, Clive. Really nicely presented. It's in great condition as well.
Yes, it's the car's pretty much original. Bill did add a few of his own personal touches to the car, like fitting the Ricardo seats, but he's really kept the car as original as he could. Added the Alpina wheels, of course, which just,
does something for you, right?
It's just a wow factor.
Now, Clive, I have a question for you. Got to ask you. This car and your other cars, who have you got them insured with?
Currently, they're insured with Shannons, and all our cars run on Penrite oil, believe it or not.
How's that for a bonus, hey? He couldn't have answered that any better. Good on you, Clive.
Good.
Clive, I want to thank you so much for the interview this afternoon. It's not every day of the week you get a guy like this from South Africa, a bit of history there, a good peddler as well, behind the wheel, a glorious 1974 BMW, which you have to admit is a very, very smart-looking car. You've got it here today in Melbourne. Good on you, mate. Well done.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the interview.
That's all right. Time for a 1964 Beetle with a whole heap of junk on the roof. How you doing, Andy?
Good, thanks, Fletch. Very good, thank you.
That's the way, mate. What is it with the Volkswagen people that you've got to have a lot of luggage on the rack? It's like as though you're ready to get out.
Yeah, we're always ready for a holiday, drop of a hat, everything packed in there that I need, which is actually they're all empty, but I don't know.
You could get the call at any moment.
That's right, yeah.
And because the stuff's empty, well, obviously you're not going for long.
Not going for long, not going far, so just around the city, so it's all good. So
you guys always do things in theme most of the time. I love it. Now, we've got a 1964 Beetle. What can you tell us about this particular car, Andy?
I can tell you it's a 64, but I found out about 2 weeks ago that it's actually a February 65. But I'm not going with that. I'm still going with 64. So I like 64 better than 65. So
there you go. See, Volkswagens are that flexible. You can even give them their own year.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's all good. So it's just pretty standard. Just twin carbs and a bit of a narrowed beam and new interior. But yeah, it's just good fun car to drive.
I think the Beetles look good when they're lowered. It gives it that tough little bit of a stance that they've got. The rounded guards, certainly a cool look, all of their own.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
A little bit like yourself, Andy.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you had this 1964? 5 model.
65, yep. About 3.5 years now. So I've had a few over the years, but only been driving normal cars for the last 10 years or so. So
normal cars?
Yeah, just normal cars. So so finally decided to get back into Beetles again, or Volkswagen. So I had a few over the years, about 5 or 6 over the years. So but yeah, back into it again now. So and no stopping now. So
good on you, Andy. Now, when you go back as a young bloke, when you were a kid in school, did the Beetles always do something for you? Like, when did the attraction to want to have a Volkswagen come about with yourself?
I think sitting in the back of our own Volkswagen when I was a kid. So 3 kids in the back. So it all starts from there, I think, just getting the noise in your body and never leaves you. So
this is where the memories of our classic cars, they run deep, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so my parents had a few. So it started from there, really. So
it's the old tug on the heartstrings. We can remember the cars our parents had, and our uncles, our aunties, our grandparents. And when you cast your mind back, you think to yourself, wow, wouldn't it be great to have their car now sitting in the driveway? And anyone watching the show maybe is thinking, hey, well, we've got our grandparents' car, or we've got our uncle's car. That's just such a great thing.
Yeah, it means a lot. So my parents are no longer with us, so it just sort of brings back some of those memories as well. So it's great. So yeah.
Good on you, Andy. That's great, mate. Now look, I appreciate the fact that you turned up here today. You're a little bit sceptical about having an interview, but I did want to get you on the show.
Yeah, well, I ran away from you last time, so
but I do want to just reference again that junk you've got on the roof.
Yep.
Now, does it slow you up at all?
It makes a bit of noise, but I'm used to it now, so that's all right. So it's all good.
I guess just as well the suitcases haven't got anything in them.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Andy, what I love about the Beetles is that you can be so different with them. I know I'm like a scratch record on this. I've said it many, many times. They're like the only car you can do stuff to and get away with it. But everyone is uniquely different. There is no Beetle here or any other car show that you go to the same.
That's right, exactly right. I've even tried to make every part of mine different, like with 4 different wheels. So just to mix it up a bit. So, it's all good fun.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for being on today's show.
Thanks, Fletch. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed just some of the 2016 German Auto Show here on the beautiful grounds of Deaf Children Australia. The website details are across the bottom of the screen right now. If you'd be kind enough to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated. As I always say, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching.
like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.
Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering.